Okay, so welcome everyone for today's session. Thank you so much for joining. And today we are going to talk about TABCMD. So the session is all about like getting or automating all of your most of your administrative tasks using TABCMD, and that is why sleep, rest, and automate with TABCMD. So before we dive into TABCMD, a little bit about me. Srikanth has already filled you up on this, but since I do have slides, I'll go ahead. So I'm a data visualization coach and mentor. I'm the founder of TableBuddy. That's a one-to-one mentorship program that started way back in July 2021. I'm also a mentor with Data Visualization Society. Also, recently I've founded one more program that is called Nebula, and that is going into the banner known as Viz Diner. And apart from these current experiences. I have worked with American Express, BBCL, and Mahindra and Mahindra. It has been amazing experience working with these companies. And also, if we talk about some of the international titles and recognitions I am blessed with, so one of them is being a Tableau visionary and also being only two from India. One of them is me, and the other one is Vinod Kumar. He's also the leader of Chennai itself. And I'm also a Tableau social ambassador for the current year as well as for the past year. Also, I got the opportunity to be at Tableau conference this year, so that was a big blast for me. Also, being on Tableau's website is has been one of the most honorable accomplishments that I can have. So now, talking about Tab CMD, so why we actually need Tab CMD, or why did I even went through and decided to use Tab CMD? So I had this problem statement. So the problem statement was I was working on a global project where we had somewhere around 10K plus users, and we had somewhere around 48 workbooks. The biggest challenge was that we had to publish each of these workbooks on three different servers. So, starting from one of them was the development server, the UAT server, and the production server. All these are different instances of Tableau server. So, let me show you how it looked like. So, we actually had 16 master workbooks, and then these all workbooks had to be in different languages. So we had another 16 in Spanish, in German, in English. So altogether we had somewhere around 48 workbooks, and we had to publish all these workbooks on production. So it always starts with development. Once we are done with the development, we'll go ahead onto the UAT server, and then afterward, if it is finalized and tested, it will go to production. But in a way, we had to publish all these workbooks on all three servers. Now, it started way back when we had only these 16 master workbooks, and we had to actually publish on all three servers, and it was becoming a big pain because the average time of publishing a single dashboard on three servers was somewhere equivalent to 3 minutes. We actually calculated, we tried multiple times and saw that how fast we can do it. Because if you have a single dashboard and you are going to publish it on multiple servers, then you have to go to the option, and then you have to actually change the server path, and then you have to log in and then publish. So I think maybe someone can do faster than this, but when we calculated, a couple of folks in my team, we calculated, so we found that it was somewhere around 3 minutes. So now, if I take into account the time invested for publishing the 16 workbooks for three servers, so that was somewhere around 48 minutes. Now, let's just take into account, since we had these three languages, it will be somewhere around 48. So it was coming out to 2.5 hours. That's a lot of time. And let's say right now we had three languages only. In future, let's say we add more languages, then we'll have more workbooks. So this publishing of workbook, that is essentially not a task that a person should do, or it's not essentially where you have to put in your mental effort or you have to think about it. You just have to perform it. So it's kind of a mundane job, and I'm kind of person that really looks for try to automate things or maybe cut down time That is really important because I'm really, really lazy. I don't like to work all the time. So I always look for places where I can slack or cut slack. Right. So that is why this all concept and doing this proof of concept came into existence. And we found that it was really, really helpful, and it saved us a tremendous amount of time. So I'll show you how how much time it takes actually if you have a tab command script in your hand. And then if you have to even publish, let's say 108 or 100 workbooks in a web, it won't take much time. So before we talk about writing a whole script, let's talk about some of the basic commands and also what tab command is. So I actually found tab command, that is also known as Tableau command line utility. So Tableau provides this tab command line utility, which we can use to automate site administration tasks. So some of them can be creating or deleting users, projects, and groups, as well as publishing workbooks, overwriting workbooks. There are multiple use cases for using tab command for doing all the administrative tasks on the server. But today we are going to take into account only few of the items that are required to publishing the workbook. So the agenda today will look like, first we'll talk about how we can install tab command if you haven't, or if because you might face some problems if you haven't downloaded it or installed it earlier. Then we'll talk about tab command, the commands, different commands that are there, and then we'll finally go ahead and create a batch file or the tab command script. Okay, so how to install tab command? So if you're using Tableau server, you have to download it from the website itself. I'll share that link as well. Or and if you are in Tableau cloud, then I was going through the documentation earlier. They had this exe file that you can use to install tab command for Tableau cloud, but right now they are not allowing that. So actually, you have to install Python from python.org, and then in the command prompt you can run pip install tab command to install this. That is how you can do it. It is really easy. One other thing is, when you are installing Python, please do take into account that it is added to the path variable. Otherwise you have to go back to the folder and then run these commands. Okay, so yes, I was coming to the set the path variable. So to run these scripts, so either we can go into the particular location where tab command is installed and run the file from there, or we can actually add the location where the tab command is installed and actually add it to the system environment variables. I'll show you how we can do that. And if we do that, it actually enables us to run these scripts from anywhere in the system, irrespective of the location of the tab command. So it's almost like you are setting the location of tab command as global, so that it should be accessible from any of the location in your system. Okay, so let's talk about some of the commands that we'll be using today. So first is, if you see some of these lists, it is not something that you need to remember, but if you get into practice, it's really easy and simple. So dash s, that denotes the server URL, dash t denotes the site name, and dash p denotes the password, and dash u denotes the username. And let's say you don't want to show the password, and that makes sense as well. So you need to store that particular password in a particular file for better security. So then you have to use this dash dash password dash file. This will be the keyword that we'll be using. So now how it will look like when we combine all these commands to log in into the Tableau server or Tableau cloud using tab command. So if we look at the code or the statement here, this is how it will look like when we have to log in into the server using tab command. So first we'll write tab command, then login, then we will use the keyword dash s, we'll place the site URL, whatever the site URL we have. If we have Tableau server, there must be a specific site URL that we have to use. If we have a Tableau cloud, then we also have some specific URLs that we have to use. And then we will place slash t followed by the site name and then the username, and then we have to put in the password. Once we combine all these keywords and the values, this will enable us to log in into the Tableau server or the Tableau cloud instance that we have. So we have a quick question here. Google Colab works. I'm not sure about that. It's a cloud-based notebook, so I haven't checked if you can use that in from there. That can be checked out, but I'm not sure about that. Okay, so moving ahead, some of more commands for creating project. Now, in Tableau Cloud, we have different projects, and in those different projects, we are storing all our workbooks or data sources. So let's say we have to create a project using tab command. Then how will it look like, and what are the different keywords that we have to use? So here slash n will be used to denote the name of the project. Whatever name you want, you can use the name along with this dash n keyword. Now, if you see here, this parent project path, right? Now, what is this? So let's say you have folders, you have a particular folder in on Tableau Cloud, and then in that particular folder, there is another child folder, and that is the place where you have to actually publish your workbook. Then you will be using this parent project path, and you will specify the project name so that you can access the child project in there. That is, this particular keyword will only use if we have multiple folders or nested folders, and then we have to get inside that particular project or folder, and then we have to publish our workbook. And then there's a slash d that specifies the description of the project. Here's a simple command just to show you how we can create. So we'll write tab command create project. That is our keyword or the command here, and then we'll use all the accompanying or supporting keywords like slash n, this has the name, and then slash d, it is showing all the description. Okay. So for publishing workbooks, that is essentially important because that is what we intend to do. So here, again, here slash n denotes the name of the workbook, and then similar is parent project path. And then here we have to specify the project by the keyword dash r. And then we have dash o that is used to override the workbook. So these are all the keywords that will come under the publish command. And if we look at how we will write this particular command, so we'll write tab command publish, and then we'll put the workbook location. So if it is present anywhere in the system, we'll just put all the whole URL or the location of that particular file. And then we'll place the project name where we want to publish. If we have already created a particular project, then we can specify that name, and then we have to put in the file name followed by slash n. And here we can, if we have already published once, and that is essentially what happens, right? So we will have to add dash o at the end of this. Okay, not this one, use dash in place of, we don't have to do this, we have to actually add dash o at the end if we want to overwrite the workbook. Okay, so now we'll go ahead and we'll start writing the script. That is what we intend to do. So before that, if you have any questions, I'm happy to take, and then we'll move ahead and we'll go for writing the batch file. So can you see my screen, the Windows screen?
Yeah, present. we can see.
Okay, so now I'll show you first how it starts from the start itself. So first I actually installed Python and then actually use this particular command in the command prompt.
We
Where I'm
have
directly using pip install tab command. Okay, so let's see. So it's already done. So that is why it's saying that the requirement is already satisfied. If it's not installed, it will install the tab command for you. And you will find this in your users app data local folder. Here is the place where you will find your tab command file. Okay, if I need to show you this, I can go to this PC, go to C, users, present frame, and then here we will have app data local. Yeah, it's a bit deep in there, but I think we can find it. And then in the Python 3.1.2, we need to go to lib, and then this is by default it is actually taking the place where Python is installed itself, and then in the site packages you will find your tab command. I think it should be here. So here is our tab command, right? So this is our tab command main file here that is being used. So what we'll do is we'll actually take this location and we will add it to the system variables. Now, how can we do that? So let me just open the settings. Okay, and from here, I think we should go to here and go to advanced system settings. If you go in here, in the advanced, you will have environment variables. And from here, we can actually add to the path. So I can just edit and put that particular location in here. Now, once I do that, now the tab command file is can be accessed from anywhere since it's added to the environment variable. So that is how we can add it. So this is fine. Now this is done. Once it is done, now we need to write a tab command script. So you can use any of your visual code editors or Notepad++, whatever you're using. I'll use a simple Notepad. Okay. So now we can write this, but I do have this one, so I'll show you how it looks like. So I'll open this batch file that I've already created. Okay, so if you can see in here, first we are writing tab command login. This is our keyword for the site URL. And this is my site URL for the Tableau Cloud. Then I have the site name, that is Tableau Buddy. And then I have my username. And then I have the password file location because I wanted it to be encrypted. If I don't want to use this, I can just use -p followed by the password itself. Okay. So now let's do one thing. Let's remove this. Okay. So let's remove this. So now we only have this login statement, right? Okay. So now let's save it. So I'll just try save as and then test.bat. That's how we will save it. We'll use the .bat extension to save it as a batch file. So now we'll save it. Now once it's done, you can see here, this is the batch file that is created. And since it's already added to the environment variables, we don't have to do anything. We can just double click on this. Okay, so once it's done, you can see now it is connecting and it's actually, it just closed because it was actually, it successfully completed. That is why. the batch file actually closes down by itself once all the processes are complete. Okay. So now you can see how this works. Now we'll add the multiple arguments that we want. Okay. So before that, let me just show you my Tableau cloud instance here. So this is my instance. These are all the folders. I'll just remove this one because it's already present. Okay. Okay, so now it's deleted. I'll go to this folder. So now I do have these two files with me. These are two of my dashboards from Tableau Public, and I want to publish them to the Tableau server or my Tableau Cloud instance. So now what I'm going to do is I'm again going to open this and show you how this works. Not a, it's been long using Windows, but I'll try my best. Okay, so I'll just open that particular file. Okay, so now you saw that we use the first line to log in into the server. Now the second line is about creating the project that is by the name Passion Projects. And then we are writing the tab command to publish the workbook. So first we have the sales analysis dashboard. So we are writing tab command publish, then the whole URL under double quotes, and then we are writing down the project name that is also under double quotes, and finally the name of the dashboard that will be published there. Similarly, for the second one, the Women in Power workbook, we are doing the same. And then finally, we are logging out. Okay. So does this make sense till here? Okay, so now once we have written this particular statement, we don't have to do anything. We just have to save it the same way as a batch file. So I'll just save it since already save as a batch file. And now if I double click on this particular batch file, now let's just see what is happening. So first it is succeeded. It has created the project that is also done. Now it is also publishing the workbook that is also done. Now the final one. Okay, so I interrupted it and that's why. So let's run it again. So it is published. Now it's saying it cannot be overwritten because it was published in the last one, and the second one is also published, and now it has logged out. Okay, so now if we go back to our Tableau Cloud instance and refresh, so here we can see the passion projects which we actually deleted earlier, and in there we have our two workbooks that we wanted to publish. Okay, so I just wanted to show you one more thing here, that because once it is published, generally what happens is when we are working, we don't have to create new files every time, but rather than we have to overwrite them, right? That is quite important because let's say a new feature is coming up, then we have added into the dashboard and now we want to publish it. So in that case we don't have to do anything, but we have to just add, we just have to add dash O, and I'll show you this. So if you see here we have actually removed the create project statement because it's already created. We don't want to create it. And now in your publish statements, if you see that we have actually added dash O at the end. That is giving us, or it is giving the statement or instruction to tab command that it has to be overwritten. That means it is already present. So once it's done, if we run this second batch file that is for overwriting, now let's see what is happening. So first it is succeeding and now it is overwriting the first one. It is done. Okay, so now the second one is being done and now it is logging out. So if we just want to check, so right now it's 6:32 right in here. So we can actually check when it was last published. If we refresh, so it was last published at 6:32, right? So it was being overwritten using the batch file itself. So now in this instance, if you see, like we only have two dashboards and it was pretty much easier doing this. Now, if you want to write it for multiple workbooks, right? If you want to write it for multiple servers, then you just have to add in more statements so that once you have logged out, then you will add another set of statements for logging in into the different server, followed by the set of instructions you want to do. And this is a one time effort actually. And once you have done, it actually saves us a lot of time. If you remember, we were talking about somewhere around 2.5 hours for 48 workbooks. Now, if I show you and like what I've shown you here, even if it runs, how much do you think it will take time to even publish, let's say, 100 dashboards? What do you think? Like, give me a number in the chat box. Yes, somewhere around even less than 10 minutes. We actually did it for all those workbooks and it took us somewhere around 7 to 8 minutes. So that was a big time save that we did, and that was really helpful for all of our teammates because let's say even a single feature is being added, then you have to repeat the process because you have to go to the UAT server and then finally you have to publish. Like it's a lot of hassle, and doing this mundane job was like taking out all the energy for most of us, and this really helped. So that was all about tab command and how to write a batch file in short. And now I'm open to any of the questions that you have. Okay.
Prem, uh, so I have a question, something related to TABCMD. So
Hmm.
can we create a larger extracts using TABCMD? So usually we reduce the data and publish it to server and then create the extract.
Hmm.
Giving the load to Tableau server to create the extract. So is there
Right.
any way to do that in our local desktop itself using TABCMD?
I think yes, like we just talked about a bit of the functions that can be done through TABCMD, that is mostly about publishing. But if we look at all the different functions, like we can create extracts, we can decrypt extracts. There are lots of functions in there which we can use and like save us a lot of time. So I'll share all these links that people can go through. All the documentation is there. You can check out. It's really easy and simple. It's just about like knowing what to put in where, and then you can just run it. That's how it works. So I think yes, that can be done. And I'm sharing. Sorry, I'll share all these links with you, Shrikant, as well, and I'm sharing these in the chat box. right now as well.
Sure. We got a question in the Q&A, that is there a limit on the number of dashboards that can be published this way?
I don't think so because see what is happening in here is if you look at the particular command, any of them, I'll just open this one. Okay, not this one. Sorry. So let me open the one, all files. Okay. So now if you see here, this particular chunk is just for one server. And then further, if you hit enter, and then you can add multiple. And I don't think there's a limit as such that you can only publish a certain amount of workbooks from here. You can publish to multiple servers, to multiple sites. You just have to create all those codes in there, or you have to write the script in first place. That is what you have to do. That is a one-time effort, and I think that can help a lot. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think that's it. And yeah, let me know, guys, if you need any help, if you are setting this up, and if you need any help, you can always message me on LinkedIn, and that is where you can find me.
So someone is seeking for a tutorial on Tableau server to learn more.
Mhm.
Is there any medium to access all
So I
the
think
data?
right now a lot of Viraj has already shared a lot of resources. I think that is good. You can also go to, I think Udemy is also there from where you can take some courses if you want to. But I think best will be to go from Tableau's website itself, and also the Salesforce links he has shared. I think that will be a good start.
Cool. And we will publish this recorded session to YouTube also, in case if anyone want to go through the content again, please go through it.
Yep. Okay. Thank you so much, Shrikant.
Thank you, Prasann.
Thanks, Prasan. It was a great session.
Yeah, I'm stopping the recording.
Thank you so much, everyone.